even know I was doing that. I was sitting here playing with the mic. Sorry. All right. Well, back to you, Augie. So we've discussed that. What else would you like to
Well,
discuss? Because you've got a huge, huge resume about the
well,
power of mind, subconscious, and all that. But go ahead, whatever you want to talk about.
I was suggesting to talk about solutions tonight. Everybody and their dog is talking about the problems out there, and very few of them have any solutions to speak of. But when we think about the solutions are a lot easier to understand if we know what we are. Not necessarily who we are, but what we are, because there's a huge difference between who and what. And these solutions that I'm talking about, that is everyday solutions that can make our lives better. And that comes all the way from the point where, the cure for cancer was created back in 1931, and the Nobel Prize was given for the discovery. Same thing as reversing the aging process was given the Nobel Prize for it, and nobody told you about it. I write about that in one of my books, explains how I do it, and it's working for me. These kinds of things is also mind created, because we got to remember that quantum mechanics are now proving to us that we live in a mind-created universe. So what is in our mind is what we will most likely have in our existence. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to set the stage for you so you can understand the question better. For the last 300 years or so, we have been told that matter and energy cannot be created from nothing. We kind of know that. But then again, some of the most brilliant people on the planet, like Stephen Hawking, bless his soul, he just left us, and Michio Kaku and Green and most other theoretical physicists that work with quantum mechanics every day, they're telling us that this universe was created from nothing. So if this universe was created from nothing, and everything in this universe was created from nothing, and you are in this universe created from nothing, what are you? I paused on purpose there, and I want you to think. Could it be that you're nothing?
A hologram?
Could it be? Yeah. Could it be that everything you see around you and experience is just a mind-created illusion? That will be a lot easier to understand what we are, because we are an intelligent energy living in a holographically created perception of reality, which we call our body, and which is a temporary home for us for a while. And we desecrate this home all the time by eating garbage, basically the stuff we call food, getting back home from the grocery store, GMO-laden this and that, and corn syrup and sugar and things which is poisonous to the body, and fluoride and all these things. We keep putting it in it, so no wonder that the world is sick. But the thing is that we can change some of that by the way we think. Because if we have a mind-created universe, that means that our mind is creating everything around us. And that everything around us, we have control of it, because we should be somewhat in control of our mind, shouldn't we? Well, we really aren't much, but we have some control until we condition the mind to be able to project what we want to have happen around us. And that is
so you're
something
saying that the mind manifests things, right?
Absolutely. It creates and manifests everything around you. So then what happens when we walk around and thinking about all our problems? We get more problems. And it's
manifest
okay.
that reality.
Yeah, if we are thinking about problems all the time, we most likely get more of it. And if we are thinking about solutions, we get solutions. Now, it's good to understand the problems, and we dissect it, analyze it, so we understand it, but then we don't have to think about it anymore. We bury ourselves in the problem-solving process. And that comes into planning ahead for what we want, create it in our mind before we have to live it. And most people, they spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their life. Isn't that kind of warped? I think I heard some snickering back there. Somebody must have done that.
Because it's so true. It's so true.
No. Absolutely. And the thing about that is that we can create the future before we have to live it. You see, when we think about something, remember now, according to quantum mechanics, everything you see around you is mind created. It's only a synthetically created perception of reality created by the mind. So if the mind decides to create something that we like instead of all the garbage, it will do that. And that is where something called a mastermind comes in. A mastermind, that is when you are brainstorming with someone. The definition of a mastermind is where two or more minds are united in harmony. They create a third mind that has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other. Let's say that there was 1,000 people listening to this show. And we decide that we are going to join our minds together and create something specifically that we all understand. And we think in one particular term and direction, all of us together. Now, 1,000 people times 1,000, now we have the mind power of 1,000,000 minds. That is powerful. So that is exactly what happened 20-some years ago when Art Bell on this show on the Coast to Coast Live, he created rain over Texas because they hadn't rained for 4 months down in Texas and the state was burning up. They're running out of water. Cities, towns were running out of water. Cattle were dying everywhere. And he talked to his 10+ million listeners and he said, let's all visualize rain over Texas. We all did. I listened that night and I joined in. And the later that night into the morning and the next day, there were thunderstorms all over Texas, all kinds of rain. And the weather forecasters came out and said, we are dumbfounded. We don't understand how this happened because there were no moisture anywhere in the computer models that could create this rain. But it did. They didn't understand, but I understood. We did that by joining our minds together because we directed and changed the physical reality that we call it, which is only a holographic projection of the combined mind that we created. That is what we can do on a smaller level. We can do it as a family. If a family of 5 people get together and say, we need a new car, and then you go out and you decide what kind of car, what color, what do you want in it? What do you want it to smell like? Everything you can think about in relation to that thing, get brochures, and then you get together at the kitchen table and you mind melt. You join your minds together and you start visualizing that car. Because when you visualize something using the mastermind principle, or even by yourself, you create something out of thought. and you give it a low form of life, and you place that in the future. Then place it into a time-coded event in the future. Don't use a calendar. Calendars and time is worthless when it comes to anything outside of the physical. Time is a fourth-dimensional illusion. So you place that in the future, what you want, and then you go back and forth to it every day. Visualize that thing and put more energy into it, put more love into it, put intention, gratitude for already having it, even though you don't. You feel it, feel yourself driving it. You live that car before you have it. Now, the universe will go to work with you. You are brainstorming with the universal mind, and you start pulling this into the physical existence. It may not happen overnight, because in the physical we have this concept called time, and that's a wild card. It could take a week, it could take several months for that card to show up, but somebody or something will usually show up in your existence and allow for you to take advantage of something which will create the arrival of that car. That could be simple thing. You looking in the newspaper one day for an ad and you find a car for sale, or you walk down the street and say, wait a minute, that's a good looking car, and you go in and they give you a deal where you trade in your own one and you just got a new one. These things happen. That's called a form of manifestation. And I know some of us, or some of you, have already done this without necessarily thinking about it as manifestation, because it made sense to do, right? Don't you feel you have?
Oh, I know I have. I personally, I believe the universe is there to give you what you need and what you want if you know how to ask for it and apply yourself to getting it.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, when you create this thing by thinking it into existence, you give it that low form of life, which you are already part of, because you are part of the universal mind. So you are already part of that car. You are just going out there to claim it. So why not claim more of what is already yours? We can want all kinds of different things, but just wanting it and say, well, I wish I would have that. I wish I could do that someday. I don't understand someday. I know about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I don't know about someday. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, you got to set. You do got to set goals, and you do got to set. If not necessarily a calendar time period, you do want to reach these goals within your lifetime. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And goal setting,
but
itself,
the universe doesn't understand time.
It can understand time as it connects to time-coded events, like a Christmas party. Let's say that you need a new car by Christmas, Christmas Eve. Then you place that car on Christmas Eve. So as linear time projects itself forward and you're walking through that, by the time you get to Christmas Eve or the New Year's Eve party, whatever you select, then you walk into it and it is yours. But of course, this also will work a lot better if you know what you are